Welcome to Voice Rising with Kara Johnstad. Enjoy weekly conversations with leading luminaries, pioneering visionaries, singers, poets, musicians, and sound healers as we explore the profound role our voice plays on the path to self-realization and global enlightenment. The internationally acclaimed singer, composer, author, healer, recording artist, voice expert, creator of Voice Your Essence, and founder of the School of Voice, Kara Johnstad uses her extraordinary spiritual gifts to empower others. Everything in this world vibrates. Everything has a frequency. A pioneer in the field of voice work and transformational songwriting. Her breakthrough methods are helping thousands of people worldwide fine-tune their body-mind-spirit system and unlock the energetic frequencies of limitless creativity, health, and abundance. Share your voice, ask your questions, join in the conversation. Receive life-changing, positive transformation and rise together to create a sound world. And here's your host, Kara Johnstad.
Hello, everybody. A very warm welcome today to Voice Rising, where each week we are diving into those big questions on how we as a humanity can fine-tune our body, mind, spirit system and heal through sound consciousness. And there's nobody better on the planet Earth, probably, to explore with us these bigger questions of meaning than the singer, visionary, vocal coach, yogi, author, founder of the Beyond Foundation and Beyond Music, Miss Regula Curti. So welcome, Regula, to the show.
Thank you, Kara. I'm happy to be with you.
I'm very happy to be with you too, Regula. The thing that I love so much about spending time with you is that you are really an explorer and a practitioner of the voice on many of its intricate levels. So a lot of people think of the voice as only being a tool maybe for speaking or for singing, and they forget that it's a tool for our inner journey. They might not realize that it's an amazing tool for connecting our body, mind, spirit system, for recharging our cells in our body. They forget maybe that each and every one of us carries this vibrational harmonizer inside. And you work with writing, you work with speaking, with teaching, with singing, meditation, chanting. You really weave together all these different layers and live embodied in your voice work. So how does voice basically, how do you move through your day? Do you see your voice as a companion, or do you see it as your soul? How do you experience your voice?
I believe, as you mentioned, friend, or like a kind of a sister, a soul sister, mm-hmm. which vibrates. I mean, your soul has a vibration. And if we be aware of that, we can also feel that the soul is not very happy in our body when our vibration is low, when our frequency is low. And so that's why I start in the morning, especially with my prayers, my singing prayers, and perhaps just listening also to the birds, because that's the first sound you hear in the early morning when the sun is rising, and then joining in with the voice. This is the best start into the day. And from then on, the voice actually accompanies me through the whole day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Isn't that magical? I think we forget sometimes that we always have this best friend. I always say to my clients, the voice, if you're listening to your voice, also she will guide you, because she'll tell you if you're tired and then you need to take a nap, or she'll tell you if you ate maybe food that was too heavy, or she'll tell you if your voice gets a little bit scratchy, that you might need to, take some more garlic or onions or whatever works for you to stay in balance. So she's quite the guide in these times to keep us aligned with our harmony and peace and health vibes and joy vibes, of course. Yeah.
And she is so true, because you can, if you listen to a voice, you can also feel the other person's mood, the sad voice, the angry voice, the timid voice. I mean, you really can read people through their voices, and that the voice is not lying.
Right. You also work as a vocal coach and a voice therapist or a music therapist, correct?
I do, yes. Yeah, that's my profession.
And so when the people come to you, and let's say you hear that they have a very maybe heavier voice, how do you I'm sure part of it is deeply listening, but how do you support them in reaching different states of consciousness or different states or different moods through music? Is it the change in rhythm or the change in range, frequency?
Well, usually because the voice is actually placed in our bodies, and the voice is affected by your body. When your body is tense, your voice is much higher. So it's all about relaxing first your body, like shaking and breathing exercises to really relax your body. Usually people are very tense in their necks and shoulders area, and that has a huge effect on the voice and makes the voice high and not very well placed in your body. So it's all about bringing the voice really into the body and feel the vibration of the voice in your chest, in your heart. And then to find this place is the first thing I will do. And sometimes it needs lots of body work first before you really can feel that vibration in your heart or chest.
Yeah, beautiful. Regula, you recently completed another project. You have a lot of projects happening. Beyond Music is a project that's happening, and they're bringing out they're working currently on a new album. It's an amazing project. We're going to talk about it a little bit later. And now you have another new project that talks about also the power of chanting and words. And you co-authored together with your dear friend Tina Turner and also Tara Gold the book Happiness Becomes You. Share with us a little bit about this project and why it is so dear to you.
Well, when I met Tina and collaborated with Tina in 4 albums, I discovered who she really is. And I found out that besides being this incredible legend, the queen of rock, she is much more than that. But she was like, people were aware of just this side. And some people might have known that she's also chanting, but very, very little people knew that. And when I was like getting her to know her better, and we were talking a lot about chanting and her chanting practice, I just realized there is so much wisdom nobody knows, which will be lost when she's leaving this planet. And it was quite a suffering I had, and the longing to help her to find the words to describe what it means to her to have found in a very crucial time in her life this mantra. The mantra she was like practicing her whole life since she was in this really bad abusing relationship with her husband Ike, and the singing of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, the Lotus Sutra, was really the method and the technology which brought her out into life and to get independently to leave Ike. So I thought it must be very important to bring that experience of hers into the world.
She said something very fascinating in the book talking about that. She said she's often asked, or I thought it was very fascinating, she's often asked why she did not leave sooner, this abusive marriage, which people know from the press. And she talked about the role that the chanting had to strengthen her core. And I found this really fascinating because we know that Tina is an amazing artist, and she was already a professional singer. She's an amazing singer and a very fine artist. So I don't want to talk necessarily about Tina because Tina should be here to talk about that. But what is your experience? You are a singer and you also have a chanting practice. So what is it about chanting that kind of compacts, or I can't explain it. Like, what is about chanting that's different than singing, for example? We could also sing Ave Maria in praise and repeat it and also deepen that practice. And yet people say time and time again, these simplified melodies and these simplified rhythms, they anchor in our bones a different kind of strength. So what is your experience? What's the difference between singing a song or singing a song of praise, singing a hymn, and chanting?
Well, I can dive deeply into that question because before I was chanting, I was singing, and I was actually singing with the wrong attitude, with the wrong mindset, which caused that because I have a voice for opera, I have a large voice, but that was not my way, and the expectation I had to sing like the great opera singer sings made that I broke my voice, and I had to stay silent for quite a while, and there was no cure. You can laser your chords, but there was no cure besides that. But then I went on a search with Buddhist monks and singers in India, and I found out that the vibration of the chanting, which has no effort, like what you put in your voice when you sing an opera, it's very physical, but the chanting is a soft vibration which runs through all your cells, through all your through the entire body, and even in deeper layers, and is a soft vibration which you repeat and which travels through your body and through your aura, through your electromagnetic field, and affects much more than just your body. Affects your mind and even more, because this kind of vibration is stored in every living being, every plant, every stone. It's a very high vibration, especially when you're tuned with God, when you're connected with God or the goddess you sing about. Then it's becoming something so sacred, and it is a sacred art. It has been practiced over thousands of years, and if you plug into that vibration, you are actually plugging into the whole row of saints and people who have been chanting this kind of chant, and you have all the power of those people also behind you, and they work through you. So it's quite effective, and let's say it's something you have to experience so you can believe. That's what Tina also said. You have to sing it, you have to chant, you have to experience it. Nobody can tell you what it is before you have practiced and experienced yourself. Then you can believe what it does to you.
Beautiful. It's a very beautiful image to think about all the, sometimes we think about our ancestors, but all the saints, all the monks, all the nuns, who we stand on their shoulders, that their voice is like a river. People often say when a baby comes into the world, the baby cries, and I often wonder if it's the baby's voice that cries or if it's the cry of the mother that the baby has absorbed and carries out into the world. If it's that river, nobody ever talks that when the baby cries that it might be also the mother who just gave birth. Mm-hmm. And this child brings, of course, this cry further and says, here I am and I'm alive, but also, as we know through meditation, with the consciousness of growing our compassion for the suffering of our world and also the joy and the bliss, right? And mm-hmm. I think that the book, Happiness Becomes You, is profoundly beautiful because it talks exactly about this journey of how chanting and meditation and friendship, a lot of also friendship, Wayne Shorter's in the book with his wife, communities of people holding prayerful intent, help us to transition through very complex situations that we might be experiencing in our lives, right? We don't always get dealt the perfect set of cards. Sometimes we get dealt very hard, very hard situations, whether we're in abusive situations or people are going through war, people are hungry in this world. And the book is very much a message of hope. Regula, we're going to take a very short break, and we're going to be back in a couple of minutes and then dive even deeper into transformational voice work with you.
Thank you.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organisation, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at omtimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
With happy clients all over the world, Kara Johnstad knows that your voice is the missing link to more authenticity, abundance, creativity, and health. An internationally acclaimed voice expert, Kara's breakthrough methods have helped thousands of people successfully heal their voice wounds and extinguish the story of self-doubt and shyness forever. Join in group trainings, attend online sessions, schedule one-on-one time, and invite Kara to work with your organization and community. Get started today. Go to www.karajohnstad.com and receive a special guided meditation designed to fine-tune your inner voice and welcome you on the voice journey.
This is Kathy Beal, host of Celestial Compass, featuring astrology you can use. Celestial Compass points you to what's going on in the sky and what you can do with it down here on Earth. We also explore fun, effective, and cosmic tools for navigating this adventure we call life. Join me the first and third Monday of the month at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for Celestial Compass. It's enlightening, entertaining, and empowering.
COVID-19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
If you're feeling increasingly lonely right now, you're not alone. It's totally normal. Even though we may not be able to get together in person, connecting virtually with friends and family still gives you a chance to interact with people and may help raise your spirits. Join a virtual book club, set up group text chats, or online video coffee breaks with coworkers.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
Welcome back to Voice Rising. I'm your host, Kara Johnstad, and with me in studio today is the singer, author, founder of the Beyond Foundation and Beyond Music, Regula Curti, and this is all about voice. So Regula, I want to talk to you a little bit more about your journey and share with our listeners, because you are also a voice visionary. You do manifest amazing projects that inspire a lot of people around the world to rise, I guess I would say, to their potential, or to feel their calling of the voice. For those of you out there that don't know, Regula does have a foundation called the Beyond Foundation. And in the summer of 2008, you had a vision, which is about 13 years ago. You envisioned an album of Buddhist and Christian prayers, an album to promote peace and understanding amongst different cultures. And it would become, if I have this right, the very first album from Beyond Music. So what happened next? What was this vision that you had?
Well, you mean in 2008?
Yes.
Yes, in 2008. Well, I felt in a very early morning singing session with my people that this vibration, this energy should be brought somehow into a bigger audience. And as I do not like to travel so much, and having my people, my students right where I live, I had the idea to make an album and to unite different singers together from different religions, chanting their singing tradition or chanting tradition, and merge their voices together. And I started with Dechen Shaktaksai, with a beautiful Buddhist singer, and we developed this chanting together, me chanting Christian prayers, she chanting Buddhist prayers. And as the album approached and we got deeper into it, we felt that we are creating something very big, and that we need somebody who could help us even more to promote the album. And we had the idea to invite Tina to do so, because she lives in my neighborhood, and she accepted. And on this album you'll find Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, the Lotus Sutra, which is explained in Happiness Becomes You. She sings it also on a 2.5-hour YouTube in a version where you can really listen 2.5 hours to it. And that's how this idea started, to bring different cultures together, different religions together, and make no difference between them. Because if you sing together, you need no words to explain. There is no difference anymore, whether you are Buddhist, Jewish, or Muslim, or whatever. So when we are chanting together, we are one. There is no duality anymore left. There is no polarization. There is no discrimination. It is just one vibration. And I wanted to, develop this idea over the year with other singers, and I'm still doing it. It's still my vision is still not satisfied, or let's say I know I wonderful things, but there is more. There's more to do. There's more to discover. I think there is a whole life to discover.
There's a whole life to discover. Your Beyond movement is really the fundamental spirit of the Beyond movement is unity and diversity, or unity maybe in diversity. And that is this magical thing that our voice carries, is it doesn't matter if we're 2 years old or if we're 100 years old, if we're Black, white, Jewish, Buddhist, we are united when we sing music together in these tones. In the book, there's a beautiful story that Tina shares, and I don't know if you remember it. She shares a story from, I believe it's the Soka Gakkai Buddhist tradition, and she talks about using the different fruits of the tree, the principle of the cherry, plum, peach, and damson blossom. Do you remember the story?
Exactly, yeah. I remember.
Do you want to
story.
share the story? I think it's such a beautiful story because it just makes us aware of the beauty of diversity and how simple it actually is. Do you want to share the story?
I haven't read it again in the last few weeks. So did you read it? Because I would have quite. It would be not what you expect from me.
Well, I guess we can say like this. I did read it, but I don't have it in front of me. I would say it like this. I've also heard it in different forms, but the same, whether it's plum, peach, and cherry and damson blossom, these are all different kinds of fruits, and we can enjoy them all, and yet it's all one family. And I've heard, enlightened masters also talk about you have the cactus, and you have the daisy, and you have the rose, and you have the oak tree, and every one is unique and special, and yet they're all part of nature. So I guess that's the essence of the story. The essence of the story is that each one of us is like a plum or a peach or a damson blossom or a beautiful cherry tree. And we tend to, or that's what I took from the story, we tend to focus so tightly on identity and forget that we're eating. For example, when we reach for fruit, we have a diversity of fruit. We have bananas that are one way and tiny little cherries and big long bananas, and everything is unique and diverse, and yet it's all part of this incredible earth and
yes, and
beingness.
All the same sun. We were nurtured by the sun, the same sun. We were nurtured by water. We were growing in earth. So we have like a common ground,
Exactly.
In the end, we are the same, and we go all back to the earth when we die.
Exactly. Tina also mentions the great poet Maya Angelou, who everybody should know. She's an amazing poet. And Maya believed that words are things and that words hold energy and power. And I'm sure you also agree. And our lives are so transformed by the words of great poets, writers, singers, prophets, orators. But they're also transformed, and that's what we also often forget. They're transformed by unconscious language, by the naysayers, by the haters, by people that unfortunately don't understand the story of the fruit trees, right? One unkind word can literally paralyze many people for years. What do you think in a day and age when everyone's sharing very, very freely on chats and emails and very quickly and often in social media, and yet we're not always mindful of what we're sharing at the rapid speed that we're sharing, and we're not always able to digest all the opinions and all the noise of this world. What do we need to remember about language that can help us to stay healthy and peaceful?
Well, in the Buddhist tradition, it's so important to clear your mind, because mind first, then words, then action. So if you do not have a clear mind, if your mind is polluted with anger or any kind of emotions or unright thinking, then your words are affected and your actions are affected. So it is very important to work on your mind, to clear your mind, to be aware, to be conscious what you're thinking, how you're thinking, what you're feeling, and what you are, how you react on things. So what Tina in her book calls the revolution of the heart is actually that we now realize that how important it is to become more conscious about what we think, what we do, and not being too much like a boat without captain in the sea. You need to have control over your mind, and that's another reason why we chant, why we practice chanting, because it really helps you to focus your mind and clear your mind. Because what you do, you put over your mind, you put different words. Let's say I'm unhappy, unhappy. That could be a mantra. But when you put over it, I'm one with all, it's a total different vibration. And at the end, your mind reacts on that and starts to live with the new meaning you put into your mind. So I think key is...
No, I was going to say, and maybe now we know that it's not only putting it into our mind, but we're literally putting it into our bones and our whole body. So there's a saying that often that much of what we are living out is programs from the first 7 years of our life. And so these are very unconscious or subconscious programs. So through chanting, by saying I'm one with all, or peace, happiness is joy and have a joyful life, or whatever, this is helping us to reprogram other patterns that are destructive. Can I understand it like that? Yes,
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
You clear also your subconscious mind, and you clear your karma with singing, with chanting.
Yeah.
In the Hindu tradition and Buddhist tradition, you talk also about clearing the subconscious and the karma in order to live your life without being affected by your past lives and by what you experienced in earlier days in your life when you were a child.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It gives a control to our lives. Many people think that they don't have the ability to change or shift what happened to them. And what one senses from the book and what I hear from you and what I know from other people is that when we begin to chant or begin to become friends with our voice, that it is like putting the captain in the ship in some ways. I mean, if we're just chit-chatting and not thinking, but as soon as we connect it with a deeper level of consciousness, then we start to be guided in our destiny and not just assume, oh, I was abandoned as a child, or this happened to me and I don't have any options, right?
Exactly. We have options.
We have options.
Yes.
How does music give us that strength to endure? Can we get it through listening, or do we need to really put it into our body? Because what I'm hearing today from you is how important it is, and also what you said that, Tina said, you have to experience it. You have to have it in your body. You have to do it.
Well, I of course. I mean, if you can do it and learn it by yourself and really chant it and experience it, it's something else. But you can also receive the vibration of somebody who has been singing it on a CD or on an album. You can also receive music. So I also often listen before sleeping to chants or in the early morning. Or during my work, I listen a lot. When I computer, I listen mantras and prayers, and it affects me. It brings me into a different vibration. But let's say if you would like to really go deeper, and perhaps if we look at Tina's life, because she was really in a disaster and she had to come out, she had to take the the best tools to clear her past lives, to clear the suffering she got, the pain she got through loss of people in her life, through being abused. She needed really something very, very strong, and only you know how unhappy you are because of being touched by really severe things in your life, and then you perhaps need really to chant, but also you can, perhaps you do not have such a life, but you know that you have bad times and that you want to become, perhaps you want to have another vibration, and then you can listen to it, and you can raise your vibration like that by listening to good chanted music. Of course, you can. But when you're really, really in a mess, let's say, then chanting is better than any other pharmaceutical product. So that's why Tina says, change poison into medicine. Take this poison, change it into medicine. But without drugs, without alcohol, without pharmaceutical products, without drugs, you can heal yourself with chanting, and that's what she is encouraging us to do.
That is so true. I think people need to research more that chanting really, it changes the oxytocin levels, the dopamine levels, everything that not to say that one shouldn't go to the doctor if need be, but it really it's profound how much the voice is like medicine for the soul. It's I mean, also chemically it shifts the body into a really high vibrational, healthy place. Regula, we're going to take another very, very short break, and then we're going to be back with a little bit more. So beautiful to have you here.
Thank you.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. ascendinghearts.com.
Life is a flow, and enlightenment is simply harmonizing with the way life really is. Then you find that life is effortless, benevolent, and free of all suffering. Hey everyone, this is GP Walsh, and I want to invite you to my brand new radio show that's launching right here on OMTimes Radio called The Flow of Enlightenment. I've been a spiritual teacher for decades, and my greatest pleasure is being able to share with you these deep and highly practical spiritual ideas. So join me in The Flow every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern and let yourself be transformed.
The United States has the highest rate of incarceration in the world. At the Equal Justice Initiative, we believe mass incarceration has to end. There is this presumption of dangerousness and guilt that gets assigned to Black and brown people. We have to confront our history of racial injustice and commit to a new era of truth. There's something better waiting for us, something that feels more like freedom. Truth can inspire change. Please learn more at eji.org.
Welcome back to Voice Rising. I'm your host, Kara Johnstad, and with me in studio today is Regula Curti, and we're talking all about voice. And Regula, in the book, Happiness Becomes You, which Tina wrote and you co-authored together with Tara Gold, Tina's celebrating her 80th birthday. Now, the book has been released. She might be a little bit older now. But you and I are also getting a tiny bit older. And there's a rumor that the voice loses its glow and strength in old age. And I was going to ask you, is this true or false?
Well, the chords, of course, they get looser. And a little bit also drier. They just because of lack of hormones and probably because we spoke the whole lifetime, that the chords, they just become a little bit loose. So the vibration of the chords is just different. I experienced this with my 95-year-old mother. She was a singer. She loved to sing. And she said that she really can't sing anymore. But I said to her, well, you can't sing anymore. Your wonderful German songs, but you can still chant. You can still make soundings. And I showed her how she can do it. And I felt that her voice got stronger by chanting. And somehow also was getting into a healing process, and she was fascinated by this. So even there is improvement, Of course, we all have, our skin gets looser. We have, not the same tension anymore in our bodies, and that's the same thing with our voice.
You talked about it a little bit in the beginning that you had the classical training and you have a very strong and rich voice, but that you had a moment where you almost pushed it. I understood that you had like nodes, and when you went to India, you found that healing quality. It's probably similar with your mom, that through the humming and that she can strengthen her voice. She can find the strength because it's not done through pressure. It's done through understanding the breath and being natural with the sound frequencies, these very fine vibrations.
Exactly. Right? Exactly.
Yeah. So what is one of your favorite voice exercises that keeps your voice healthy and strong no matter which age you are in, no matter if you're 95 or 10?
Interesting. Well, the humming is very, very strong, the humming. Mm-hmm. And also is very healing. A combination of humming and if you sing you also hum at the end. But lately I'm also singing some sounds to clean my chakras, like rum, ring, rum, ring, rum, ra. And this is also beautiful to do. It's like in the morning you really wash the whole chakras with those sounds, and they're very simple sounds coming from your heart. It changes. But as I remember Tina telling me that her grandmother, she was on a rocking chair, always humming. And probably the humming is something which is the soothing sound, which helps a baby to sleep. Probably is something everybody can do.
Yeah, humming is very magical. There's a lot of research on humming, even research that it heals schizophrenia to 70% now. And if you think about it, a lot of people that are in distress, they naturally hum. They know, right? It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And I just read a study which I found fascinating. It was people that are suffering from the long-term effects. I don't know how you say it in English, actually. These are Langzeitfolgen from COVID, after the COVID virus infection, that they were really struggling with breathing and breath. And they were trying to find things to support them. And the researchers are looking at nitric oxide, which is a chemical, again, like we were talking about before the break. What can the voice produce? And they, of course, are going to give it as a medicine, the pharmaceutical companies. But what a lot of people don't know is through humming, your body naturally produces it. So not only do you regenerate your vocal folds and bring those folds and the tension into alignment, even whether we're young or old, but it's amazing how many good chemicals are produced through humming, right? So it's just, it fascinated me. I thought, wow, they're going to put, you could also ask the world to hum. That's what I was thinking. I was like, in this time, we could also just be humming. And if humming is healing, or humming or chanting, if humming is that healing that is creating dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin and nitric oxide and healing. There's a wonderful, I interviewed him, John Beaulieu, and he was talking about these studies with schizophrenia. 70% they were really supported and healed through just the practice of humming, because you're really relaxing. Now we come back to what you were saying at the beginning of the interview. We start to relax the vagus nerve. We're relaxing the body so that we can come back into attunement, right? So we can be tuned. It's I could go on for hours. I know, Regula, I'm so grateful that you do this work in the world, because like I said, you work on all these different levels of voice, and you're someone who's also passionate about the healing qualities of our voice. And whether we're journaling in the morning or we're getting up and chanting, we have so many tools to make our life vibrant, to have a vibrant health, using the voice as our guide. It's phenomenal, right? Yeah, anyway. Okay. I was thinking too,
as a constant soul sister, who accompanies you inside of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the voice can then shift our rhythm. If we are out of rhythm, we can get back in tune through different rhythms. We can get back in tune through different harmonies. I was thinking of a beautiful vision that I had, and it made me smile, because your foundation does so much work bringing different cultures together. We talked about in the last interview also honoring the different languages of this world that are going extinct. We do have language extinction that is happening, just like animal extinction. The Beyond Foundation also produces music with different instruments, with different languages being part of their productions. And I was thinking, Regula, if we got to a place on Earth where when we came to these borders, instead of showing passports, where we could share music, right? I was thinking, what if someone arrived with a very sad heart and we could greet them at the border and find that harmony and peace. I know it's a little bit of a dreaming place, but I was really suddenly seeing this world without borders while researching the Beyond Foundation and thinking, wow, if we were empty of a melody, right? We arrive as a refugee and we're just emptied. Our bones are dry. We're so tired. And if there's a welcoming committee that could give us a tea and give us food, but also fill us up again with chanting, with music, with a heartfelt space. I guess it's the world I want to.
How lovely would that be?
How lovely would that be? And I know that you're doing everything you can do. There's a beautiful quote, actually, that Terence McKenna said, "The house of reason must be infiltrated by art, by dreamers, by vision." And I know you're doing everything you can do in Switzerland and with your beautiful community. What responsibility do we have as a human race to make sure that we train not only our minds to analyze, but also creativity, expression, music, the spiritual realms, so that when we lead, we do not only do it from a reasoning place, but from that place of compassion.
Yeah. And art is usually done also by passion, which brings the word compassion. In compassion, you have passion also, and to do something passionate, whether you're carving your fruit in the morning or you're preparing like a nice meal, like a mandala, for instance, or so art can be practiced everywhere. And I really believe that art changes our life to the better. Art, singing, music, dancing, painting, carving, whatever. If you do it with passion, you do not have to be good at it, but you do it with passion and from your heart, then you are in the best place and in the best companies.
I love that image you just said. I think I heard it correctly. You said to create like a mandala with your food.
Yes. Yes.
I love that, because I do make sure that I do make sure that my food is healthy and organic and fresh. But the vision that you just gave me was to create a mandala with your food. It just really awakened passion inside of my body. I was like, wow, make a mandala every morning for breakfast, for dinner. Sing with the birds. They give us the gift that the birds always teach us, or teach me at least. They sing in the darkness and they sing in the light. They usher in the new day. They usher in the new dawn. So if we are struggling and feel a little bit heavy or dark, we can not only listen to the birds, but also make that our practice, that when we're feeling a little bit more heavy, that we can be like the birds, right? We can sing. Regula, where would you like to see our world in 6 months? A lot has changed since the last time we spoke, and yet some things have stayed the same. What is your newest vision? What is your new project that's driving you with passion?
Well, I wish that we can, of course, all go back to normal, but with having in mind that we have lived a very special time, and we have all made experience, and that we learn from that experience, and that we don't continue the way as we did before, that we take more responsibility for our own health, for the world, for nature, and that we really are aware how precious freedom is, and how precious our planet is, how precious it is to get up in the morning and hear the birds singing. If we pollute the air even more and change the biodiversity on this planet, the birds won't sing anymore, because there are no birds, have no place to live. And even we as human beings can probably lose our healthy life if we continue like that. So I really, really hope in 6 months that there is a shift in consciousness through the whole world, because the whole world was affected, which is very, very, very rare that everybody experienced the same like we did with this pandemic.
Yeah.
So we hope that we can start this revolution of the heart for a better future.
The revolution of the heart for a better future. I think those are beautiful words to end with, and yes, we all experienced the pandemic together. We're still experiencing the pandemic together, and I think it's so true that if we can come together to go through this together as a global, as a global community, then we can also find ways to work together on climate change and uniting together as one humanity, and also with the beings, the creatures. So Regula, thank you so much for being with me today at Voice Rising. We are totally committed to the revolution of the heart. And please check out Regula's work out there at the Beyond Foundation, Beyond Music, the amazing platforms, and also pick up a copy of Tina Turner's newest book, which Regula was a very big part of, called Happiness Becomes You. And I hope to have you back again soon.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Bye-bye. Many blessings.
Bye-bye. Blessings to you.